You are not prepared for this movie. I don't care if you've seen the trailers and you've seen other reviews on it. Nothing can quite prepare you for Weapons, which I think is not only the best horror film of 2025, but the best movie of the year so far. Let's jump into this spoiler-free review. Weapons is one of those movies where you truly don't know what's going to happen next, and that is a rarity in modern movies today. Whether it be showing everything in the trailer or critics seeing the movie a week beforehand and giving out their reviews, or maybe reviews giving stuff away. For me, who has watched a lot of movies, to go into it and really be surprised at how this movie unfolds was such a huge plus. What I can tell you is that the story revolves an elementary school classroom who all the kids in the classroom disappear at 2:17 a.m. And that classroom is Julia Garner's classroom. She's a teacher, and the only people that don't go missing in that classroom are her and this other student. But every other student at 2:17 just walks out of their front door and runs out into the darkness, and they have been missing. And the movie really picks up when these kids have been missing for about a month. A lot of the townspeople think that Julia Garner's character has something to do with it because she's the teacher of this class. It's all the students in this one class, and they're wondering what's going on. And a lot of these townspeople are angry and wanting answers. And the main one in that whole group that's leading the charge, so to speak, is Josh Brolin, who's looking for his son. And then obviously the more they kind of research and the more they try to figure out and solve this mystery of what happened to all these kids and why they've disappeared, one of the biggest surprises of the movie is how Zach Kreger shows the narrative focus. He focuses on characters with chapters basically, and he kind of unfolds the story like that, and it's like a fragmented narrative, but it all kind of fits together. You know, speaking of Zach Kreger, he directs this movie with such a cool confidence that you would think that this guy has directed a dozen movies already. This is his second feature film. His first one being Barbarian, which, to be honest with you, that wasn't even a movie that worked on all levels for me. Like, that was a movie that I thought was decent but not great, and I know a lot of people love Barbarian, but I wasn't one of them. And this movie is completely different than that. So if you're going into it and you love Barbarian, just know that this is a complete different movie. It has some similarities with the tone and everything on certain parts, but a completely different movie. And that might be a good thing or a bad thing for you, I'm not sure. But for me, this Weapons just solidified Zach Kreger, like, even with his second feature film, as a absolute master in the genre. I mean, all it takes for me, in my opinion, is to make a great horror film, and you're already in that conversation. It's already hard enough to make a good horror film, but for Zach Kreger to make a great horror film, he has become one of the more exciting voices in the horror genre, and I just cannot wait to see what else he comes up with, because this movie, just my opinion of him as a director has just skyrocketed with this movie. I think this is one of those this is a career defining movie for Zach Kreger in his career. I really do. I think we look back and we kind of talk about, you know, you think about directors and like that movie that kind of cemented their place as one of the genre greats. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because it's only two movies. I feel like he's got to definitely put more, you know, got to get a bigger body of work before we talk about him being one of the all-time great horror directors. But when you put a movie out like this, you've solidified yourself as a name to be reckoned with within the genre. I think this is a masterpiece. I think it's a movie that, I don't use that word lightly, by the way. I don't use masterpiece lightly because I think that a lot of people overuse that word and it's become oversaturated and it's lost that meaning. So trust me when I say that I'm very selective of when I throw that word out about a movie, but I truly feel like Zach Kreger has crafted a modern horror masterpiece here. And only time's gonna tell how this movie sits over the long term, but every element of this movie, the way it's directed, the way it looks, the way the story is told, the directions it goes, it has the recipes to be a movie that could stand the test of time. The way the movie shifts the narrative focus, again, going back to that, I was just such a huge bonus for this movie, giving us a lot of great storytelling within each character where you really feel like it's almost like a little anthology for each character. And I just love that. A lot of movies have tried to do that and it just comes off as kind of like a stylistic choice. This, I think, was a huge asset to the overall narrative and the overall story. And speaking of those performances that I alluded to earlier, there's two performances in this movie that I'm not going to get into because it risks spoiling some really awesome surprises in the movie. So just know that there's two performances in this movie that get introduced around the midpoint of the movie and then in the third act that are both very strong, but there's one in particular that I think warrants some Academy Award nomination discussion. I think it's that strong of a performance and that vital to the movie. One of the best performances I've seen this year, period. Julia Garner is great in this. She is absolutely fantastic in this. And she just blew me away with her performance. It was a very nuanced performance. It hit on a lot of different things within that performance, and I thought it was extremely strong. Like I said, Josh Brolin, extremely solid. This guy was an absolute revelation in this movie. He plays one of the cops that are investigating what's going on in this town, and that performance was just a revelation. It was unbelievably good. It was unbelievably good, and this is one performance I can talk about. I definitely think that this should be in consideration for another supporting actor nomination as well. It's that good of a performance, and he is absolutely incredible. The writing and the script is one of the best of this year as well. I mean, it is razor sharp. There is not a missed moment in this movie. Every conversation, every cut in the movie, every frame of the movie just feels like perfect. This movie clocks in around 2 hours and 8 minutes. You never really feel that runtime because there's this ongoing feeling throughout the movie. It's I won't even say it's an unsettling feeling, but it's like this mystery that you want to solve. But by the way the narrative focus is told, and by the way they look at the different chapters and the way they introduce different characters at different points of the movie, it really feels like it takes its time. And it almost, sometimes it feels like a drama, but then when the horror ramps up, it really ramps up. So if you're somebody who's really like wondering how the horror is in this movie, we're all scared of different things. Different horror affects different people. This type of horror to me is just something that works extremely well. It takes its time. It has that slow burn feel, but it doesn't just wait until the very end to really get going. There's moments throughout the whole movie that are very eerie and very scary. There's a couple of sequences in here that I can't give away, but just have some incredible horror imagery. And again, I just think it was a very scary movie. I mean, I really did. I thought all the horror worked really well, and a lot of that is because of how good the performances was and how good the script introduced these characters that you really, really care about. You match that with Zach Cregger's just unbelievable direction. It's already come out where he's talked about how David Fincher was almost a mentor to him on this movie, and you can definitely see that DNA from David Fincher's directing style with this movie. This movie looks incredible. The way that we'll have some shots where the camera is following a character and it moves with the character and you're just missing stuff out of frame. He uses every inch of the frame with storytelling, whether it's a character creeping into frame, whether it's somebody in the background. There's never a missed moment in any of these frames, and that's just a seasoned filmmaker's type of thing, and that's why I'm just so in awe of what Zach Cregger was able to get done in this movie. This is Zach Cregger's film through and through, because you just see that little bit of that comedy. There's a little bit of that dark comedy element to it. There's a lot of that mystery element to it. There's a lot of good horror element to it. He is just every genre that this movie touches on, and it touches on a lot of different genres. Like, it's got all these different genres rolled into one, and it works on all of them. And that's just a huge compliment that I can give, especially with a horror film. The movie has a lot of hidden details, I feel like. I haven't really got to look at it, but I feel like there's a lot of people who are going to be making a ton of videos like Easter eggs you missed or stuff like that, like from a character's t-shirt to certain objects that come into frame. There's always something going on in the movie where you feel like you're one step behind everything. You never want to be so far ahead of the characters to where you're just telling the characters, like, you don't need to do this, you need to do this. That we're on the same page with the characters. It's like we're learning as the characters are learning, and you never feel that sense of that in the movie where you're just knowing where it's heading. And that's what I think the fractured storytelling really helps a lot. Look, I can't say much more without getting into spoiler territory, and I won't get into spoiler territory in this video. The mild spoilers I would even mention towards the end, which we're not going to do, would be the specific performances. But once you see this movie, I think you're going to automatically know which one I'm talking about. But this is an A+ movie. This is a horror masterpiece. I don't put that lightly. This is my favorite film of 2025 so far. All I will say, from a one-time viewing perspective, this movie has it all. I think you should definitely check it out. Please check it out in theaters if you can. There's just something about seeing it with a group of people and on the big screen. I was going to recommend that. Let me know what you think about Weapons in the comments below. Let me know if you enjoyed this movie or if you plan on checking it out. Definitely love to discuss things with you in the comments below. If you'd like this type of content, definitely hit the thumbs up button on your way out and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.